oftentimes I just want to run away. Like, I don't want this no more. But I mean, when you marry someone, you make a commitment for a lifetime, and through good and bad. And this was a bad time, and I believe through the prayers of family and friends, it got us through a very difficult time. My name is Bernie McClurg. My husband Lou was diagnosed with tongue cancer and metastases to the lymph nodes back in September of 2006, and underwent surgery in October of 2006 and 7 weeks of radiation and chemotherapy, which took us till January of 2007. In May of 2007, he underwent further surgery, radical surgery, lymph node dissection on the opposite side of his neck. We live 6 hours from Winnipeg, which meant a lot of driving, and it was in the winter time. When you're dealt the news of cancer, it hits you, you don't think about anything else but survive. How am I going to survive? How is he going to survive? How are we going to keep the family unit together? And you don't even think about what's your life beyond that moment. I found I had to become very organized and almost document where we had to be, when, what had to be done, because your mind is racing when you're in the moment as to dealing with the illness. Prior to cancer, we shared everything equally in the house, but I mean, Lou, you know, he's the one that you go to kind of when you need some direction in life, or and now it's changed. Our kids would look up to him for the advice, and he'd be the one to bring calm to his situation. And then I thought, how am I going to do this? This is his job. This is where he shone, and even prior to his surgery, he's on the phone sorting out a brotherly, sisterly conflict. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do this when he can't talk anymore? He won't be able to speak anymore for X number of weeks. How are we going to communicate? How am I going to keep orderly in the household? I think that's one of the big changes in me, is that now is that whatever comes forward here on in, you can deal with it. Like, you can face it head on, and it'll be okay. And through the support of family and friends, you know you will be okay. One part that I had problems dealing with through it all is when he was reaching a point in his treatment where I felt he was losing control of himself in terms of his emotions, and he would come to me and say, I don't know what's wrong with me. And this is not Lou. Like, he's the strong one in the family. Why he's coming to me, and what am I going to do with him? Because I'm not used to this role as a family. And I thought, and sometimes I would get mad at him, like, just smarten up, and like, you don't do this to me. Like, I'm mad at you because you're putting me in this situation. But I didn't realize this is all part of what he was going through, and and it was okay. I didn't know how to fix him. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know. I hugged him. I didn't know, how am I going to resolve this? But it was through resources at Cancer Care, social work resources, speech pathology resources, that we came to understand this is a normal process that he's going through. It's not going to last. It's, you know, it's like a bump in the road, and it was okay. This is normal, and he's gotten over it, and we've moved on. But it was a scary thing at the time to go through. That I couldn't do anything for. I just wanted to be mad at him, like, stop this already. You cannot think at the beginning of all of this that you're going to go unscathed through it all. You're not. It's very demanding, and I think as time goes on, you start to break down yourself, and you have no control over it. I mean, in hindsight, I think the best thing is to ask for, if you're working, is to ask for leave from your work, instead of trying to do work from a hotel room to home, and then look after your husband and everything else of the household, plus the driving to and from the appointments, and then on weekends driving 6 hours home and 6 hours back. It just becomes physically too demanding on one person. And I was by myself. We have no family left in Swan River, and no relatives or friends in Winnipeg. All of our family is out west, so it was on my shoulders to provide that support. And you can't be all for all. And I realized that in hindsight, it was a mistake to think that I could carry through with my job in the capacity I did. And you have to get your priorities straight, and the priority was Lou, which it was. But I mean, you can't do justice to the other as well. So. I would say it took another year and a quarter before he was to the point where he wasn't so, I found he was so dependent upon me for everything, and so I slowly started to wean, you could say wean him off me, and I had little breaks here and there, and you know, he survived, it was okay, and both, you know, from both angles, like he survived without me, and I survived without him, because you think, well, he can't live without me, you know, or what I do for him. But you know, you reach a point where you can move on, and he was very good that way. He says, you need some time for yourself too, and he encouraged me to do a couple of contracts, which took me away from home, and he did okay, you know, and it was good for both of us, because I had the freedom just to look after me. This was me, not, it wasn't going to be just him. And I quite enjoyed that, and I think it did the world of good for both of us to have to be away from each other. What have I discovered about myself is that to let go of my fears, that if you allow fears to consume you, then I think it just drags you down more, that you can do it. Like, you can do this, and you can get through it, and it's okay.